Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shania. I'm a hairstylist and a senior undergrad accounting student. And in this video, I will be explaining to y'all what expenses are and how they apply to you as a service provider. Before I start the video, if content revolving around accounting, business improvement, and personal development interests you, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so that you know every time I upload a new video. So what exactly is an expense? An expense is the cost of operations that a company incurs to generate revenue. What an expense basically is money that you spend to keep your business running. For this cost to be considered an expense to the IRS, it has to meet one of the two qualifications. One being that it has to be an ordinary business expense, meaning that it is a typical business expense that businesses in the same industry as you would have. Or it must be necessary, meaning that it is needed to run the business. What the IRS means by an ordinary and necessary expense means that you can't just write off anything just because you want to. It is important to consider these two qualifications when classifying your expenses so that you know what expenses you can and cannot write off on your tax return. Some examples of expenses as a service provider would be your rent, your supplies, monthly subscriptions you have, insurance, marketing, advertising. It is very important for you to keep track of your expenses and really know what these numbers are so that you will be paying more than what you are required to pay in your taxes, which will ultimately save you money. As a self-employed service provider, you are required to pay taxes every single year just like any other employee. But what makes you different from other employees is that you are taxed on what's known as your net income. Your net income is your earnings minus your expenses. A quick little example to calculate your net income. Let's say you made $20,000 in 2022, but you spent $5,000 on your expenses. So you would do $20,000 minus $5,000, which would give you $15,000. That $15,000 is your net income, and that is the amount of money that you will be taxed on. When being self-employed, your life can tend to get pretty hectic, and you don't really have time to set aside to keep track of these expenses. So there are a few ways that you can keep track of your expenses. The efficient way would be to use an app. One would be in QuickBooks, where you can link your bank account to the app and they will filter and keep track of the expenses you incur in your business. When using QuickBooks, I highly suggest you have a separate bank account from your personal. You don't want to start confusing or commingling your personal expenses versus your business expenses. A more cost-effective way to keep track of your expenses is by using Google Sheets. Google Sheets is free as long as you have a Gmail account. So you'll go on there, create a spreadsheet, title it to the expenses that you have on a regular basis, and just keep track of the spending you do within your business. If you haven't already been doing so and you've been using a card to make these transactions, you can easily go onto your bank app and get your bank statements and be able to go through and see the expenses and spending that you've been doing for your business. And the third way, which isn't really realistic when you're just starting out, would be to hire an accountant. The accountant's job is to, keep track of your financial statements and financial reportings and just make sure everything is in cohesive so that you know what you're spending, you know what you can write off, you know what you can't write off, and yeah, but that is you'll be paying more money to have that type of service. But keep in mind, you also can write off that expense of hiring an accountant. I hope you now understand what an expense is and how it applies to you as a service provider. If you learned something new, make sure you hit the like button and leave a comment down below of what you'd like to learn from me next. That's all I have for y'all today in this video. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.